जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reading from the chapter 4th canto, the chapter 14th chapter. It is the story of King Vena. This is the shloka for today, 4:14:34. Ittam yavasitahantum rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijagnur hunkritair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Ittam yavasitahantum rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijagnur hunkritair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Ittham vyavasitahantum rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijagnur hunkritair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Ittham vyavasitahantum rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijagnur hunkritair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Ittham vyavasitahantum rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijagnur hunkritair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Ittham vyavasitahantum ऋषयोरूढमन्यवः जघ्नोर्हुङ्कृतैर्वेणम् कथम् अच्युतनिन्दया. You can have Mataji, yourself, all of you. Ittam javasitahantum ऋषयोरूढमन्यवः निजघ्नोर्हुङ्कृतैर्वेणम् हतम् अच्युतनिन्दया. एतं व्यवसिताहन्तुं ऋषयोरूढमन्यवः निजघ्नोर्हुङ्कृतैर्वेणम् हतम् अच्युतनिन्दया. Itham, thus, Vyavasitaha, decided, Hantum, to kill, Rishayaha, the sages, Rudha, manifested, Manyavaha, their anger, Nijagnuhu, they killed him, they killed him, Hunkrataihi, by angry words, or by sounds of Venam, King Vena, Hatam, dead, Achyuta, against the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nindaya, by blasphemy. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada ki. The great sages, thus manifesting their covert anger, immediately decided to kill the king. King Vena was already as good as dead due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, without using any weapons, the sages killed King Vena simply by high-sounding words. So, the pastime of Vena, killed by the sages, the background of this pastime is like this. There was a great king called Anga, who was a pure, very, very pure soul. One day, when he was performing a sacrifice through the Brahmins for begetting a son, the Brahmanas were offering oblations in the sacrificial fire, and many celestial denizens, many devatas appeared in the sky. They came, generally the devatas would come with their two palms like this, and the offerings would go from the sacrificial fire to their hands. It's visible for those who are very exalted. But they came in front of sacrificial fire, but then for some reason, they all again flew back. None of them came nearby. So king was very disturbed. He took permission from the sages to break his silence vow and asked them, why these devatas are unhappy with me? If there is any fault on my part in performing the sacrifices, please tell me how I can rectify the mistakes, because none of them appear to be accepting my offerings. Then the Brahmanas told him, my dear king, in this life you have not even committed a single mistake, even with your mind, what to speak of words or body. You are faultless, nirdosh, so your sacrifice definitely should be accepted by anybody. At the same time, in your previous life, there is some bad account. There is some bad karma in your account, due to which you have no benediction for having a son. So these devatas, they cannot accept your oblations, because if they accept it, then they will have to give you a son, which they cannot, because it is not there in your account. You will not be able to have a son. So they cannot just take the charges for giving you a son and not give you a son. Therefore they are going away. Not that there is any fault on your part, they said. Then he said, alas, is there a way I can get a son? They said, yes, there is one possibility. If we can offer the oblations only to Supreme Lord, then there is nothing impossible for the Supreme Lord. What devatas cannot do, Lord can do. So some of you may wonder, how is it, if it is not there in his account, how can the Lord give? Actually, Lord can give somebody a son even if that fellow does not have the necessary virtue to have a son, but the Lord will give the equivalent amount of suffering that he will get by not having a son. He will have a son and have the same amount of suffering, but by not having a son. So that's how the Lord makes adjustment and gives. So they all offered the oblations to Supreme Lord, and then Anga Maharaj was ready. Even if there is going to be some trouble by my son, maybe he will be a little naughty. I can accept. He wanted a son for ruling the kingdom. So when he got a son in this way by that blessing, this boy, even as a small kid, he was bullying the other children. Sometimes he would pick up a child and throw him in the ocean. He was a very dangerous boy, this Vena. Many people would come and complain to the king that your son is very, not just naughty or mischievous, he is deadly. We cannot live a peaceful life. He is creating a lot of trouble. And this is how the small boy grew up. Sometimes you find when children are born, they come with various background karmas from their previous life. Some children are mild-natured, some are aggressive, some have a tendency to bully others, and some can even take a gun and shoot also. You hear about shooting, correct, no? So, because they come with various type of karmic account, this boy was very deadly. He was even not only bullying but even killing. So the king tried his best to train his son, warn his son, tried to make him mature. Nothing was of any avail. One day, the king, not able to pacify the people, he was actually loved by all his citizens. He was a pure devotee king, just like we say about Ambarish Maharaj, like that. He was a very good king. But for no fault of his, the son was doing all mischievous activities, and the people actually were not angry with the king. They were angry with the king's son. So one day he absconded, our Anga Maharaj. He left to the forest without telling anybody and took guidance of some saintly persons and took to the renounced order. He took to the Vanaprastha order. And then he went back to Godhead, Anga Maharaj. Because he was telling, in this world, if you have a good son, it is very nice. But if you have a good son, you can become attached sometimes, isn't it? I think therefore God gave me a bad son, so that he will help me produce detachment. And then he left for the forest in that way. So he took, this is the beauty of a devotee. A devotee can always find out what is Krishna showing me in this situation. And the devotee is drawn towards Krishna, Krishna's lotus feet. So after the king left, the Brahmanas were very worried now, sages. What will happen to the world? The rogues and thieves will flourish, and the common mass of people cannot live peaceful. Who will perform the sacrifices without which there cannot be prosperity in this world? If there is no prosperity and peace and protection for the people, then how they can perform their devotional service and return back to Godhead? People will be preoccupied with sorting out the issues of the society. Without a leader at the top, it will be like a headless society. You can have a body running without a hand, or even with one leg. There are people who are lame or broken hand. But have you ever seen a man running without a head? You cannot find. So how can a society live without a head? So we need a leader. So at that time, they called the ministers and said, "Dear ministers, we want to post Vena as the king. Is it all right?" None of them are agreeable. They said, even as a small kid, he was so atrocious. If he becomes the king, he will ruin the whole world. He has no qualities of a king, qualification of a king. He is not going to protect the mass of people. But the sages reasoned. They said it is good to have somebody strong like him so that he can subdue the rogues and thieves. Because even thieves are afraid of Vena. So he is a super thief, he is a bigger thief. So they said, let us post him on the throne And we will regularly give him classes daily. He will take some coaching training, spiritual training. He will become refined. And after all, he is coming in a wonderful lineage of great King Anga. So don't worry, ministers. But ministers were not ready at all. Then the sages thought ministers are not agreeing what to do. Then they went to Sunitha, his mother. See, this is something special about his mother. His mother Sunitha was daughter of god of death. So the daughter, often it is said in the Bhagavatam that she gets the qualities of her father and the son gets the qualities of the mother. Like you can see, Suniti, wife of Uttanapad, she had a son Dhruva. So Dhruva followed the path of his mother. Correct, no? Mother was devotional minded. So she used to every day bow down to the deities, worship at home, and she gave a good piece of advice to Dhruva to go to forest and find Lord Vishnu. But that is Suniti. But this is not Suniti, this is Sunitha. The Sunitha is another lady who was actually daughter of god of death. So she had already bad impressions, scripts. So her son was Vena. So when sages went to her and asked, ministers are not agreeable, what do you think? You are the chief queen now. Your husband has gone to the renounced order. Now you are available, so we are asking your piece of advice. She said, wonderful idea. You should make my son the king. Who else can become the king? He is a fit candidate. He is a little naughty, that's all right. That was her idea. Every mother thinks like that. So then he was made the king. And the ministers were told by the Brahmanas, don't worry, you guys don't worry, we will train him and everything. And subsequently what happened, when Veda became the king, he saw that the Brahmins are worshipping Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu, performing sacrifices, and they are also worshipping different devatas. When Vena came to power, one good thing that happened was all those thieves and looters, cheaters who were troubling the mass of people, they went into forest and hiding because he would catch them and execute them. So everybody understood, if I am caught by Vena, my head is gone. So they were extremely afraid. And sages were very happy. They said, just see, this is what we wanted. We wanted law and order all over the world. Now everything is fine. But then, subsequently, when Vena saw that Brahmanas are doing yajna and everything, he called for the ministers and said, announce a policy all over the world. Na dattavyam, na hottavyam, dvija kvachit, he said. No Brahmana should do any yajna for any devata, or Supreme Lord or anybody. Stop all the sacrifices, stop all types of Vedic activities and ask them to come and meet me. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and they should worship me, he said. When Brahmanas came, what is this new philosophy he is talking? Is he claiming to be God? So what Vena was telling, he said, all the Shastras say, all the devatas reside in the body of the king and he represents the Supreme Lord, which is the correct information, which is not wrong. You can see Shastras say that the king is called Naradev. Naradev means, Nara is a man, Dev means Lord. Naradev means one who represents the Lord. For that matter, even our first God is our mother. Mother only gives us body, human body, and she gives us the breast milk, she raises us. So she is like our first God, she is called as Matru Deva Bhava. Then she introduces us to Father, then he is the second God for us, we respect him, worship him. Then Father introduces a child to the Guru, and Guru introduces a child to God finally. Then you understand, oh, this is the real God, Radha Govind. And he is represented by the mother, father, guru, king, all the people like that. That's the correct understanding. So a king representing God is perfect, but a king cannot claim to be God. Similarly, a guru can be worshipped as good as God, but he is not God. Prabhupada said if any guru claims to be God, he is dog. Prabhupada has severely spoken about it. But we find in this Kali Yuga sometimes there are ordinary human beings posing as God just because they happen to be a guru of somebody. So in this way, the king was foolish and he was claiming to be God himself. And he told all the Brahmins, if you guys don't worship me, you are like unchaste wife. So that is what he chastised them. The Brahmanas had a meeting among themselves, and they said, hey, what to do with this foolish fellow? How to instruct him? He is just holding the post of a king, but he has no common sense. The whole world, this universe is running by the glance and grace of the Supreme Lord. You go out in the field, everybody will get to see. And the early morning you see the sun shines, the cloud showers, the crops grow, the flowers blossom, and the fruits ripen, the grains fructify, the seasons change, the wind blows, the fire burns, death takes its toll. Madhbhayat vati vato yam suryastapati madhbhayat varshati indro dahatyagnir mrityushcharati madhbhayat. The Lord is saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam, by Lord's arrangement, the sun is rising, the fire is burning, the wind is blowing, and all these things are happening, the natural phenomena. And all the human beings who are insignificant in this world compared to Lord's power and prowess, Lord's greatness, they all are recipients of Lord's mercy. They are receiving all these facilities from the nature. Without Krishna's glance, nature cannot function, nor it can produce anything. Krishna himself says that, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. But this fellow, Vena, was claiming himself to be God. So they were thinking, okay, let us not become angry with him because he is a king now, he has the power now. Let us try to not remove him, but reform him. That was their idea. So they all together went to him. They concealed their anger, and with a smile on their face, I don't know how you do that, it's not a very easy thing to do. If somebody is so atrocious, how you conceal your anger and then you speak sweetly to them, politely. They said, my dear king, any leader in this world, if he is given some subjects to rule, he has a very big responsibility. Acceptance of God, alignment with God, acting for the pleasure of God, acting on behalf of God. These are the duties of every leader. The first step is acceptance of God. If you don't accept God, you are gone. You have seen Hiranyakashipu, you have seen Ravana, you have seen Kamsa, where are they now? So you will see many big so-called bogus leaders with enormous prowess have become vanquished by the sands of time, those who ignored God. So acceptance of God, alignment with God means studying the scriptures and aligning with God's word. And acting for the pleasure of God is yajna, yajna by Vishnu. One should actually oneself align with, act for the pleasure of God and make all one's dependents also engage in Lord's service, just like Prithu Maharaj did or Ambarish did. Build a temple for God and install the deities to the Brahmins and have Krishna Katha, distribute profuse prasadam to all the massa people, distribute the holy names, distribute the holy spiritual literature. Everywhere there should be people gathering together, celebrating festivities for glorifying the Lord. There should be dramas, there should be dances, there should be songs in glorification of the Lord heard everywhere. The whole society should be vibrating with the holy name. Like in Parikshit Maharaja's time or Ambarish Maharaja's time. Then they said, if you do that, your whole world will flourish with peace and prosperity, and there will be protection for all the people. And even the nature will award you everything that you need. Even nature pays tax to such a king. So you will be happy, people will be happy, people will worship you. Whatever worship you are aspiring for, you will get that naturally. Great souls. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj performed only 3 yajnas, and Indra did 100 yajnas. But Yudhishthira was more famous than Indra also, because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee is more famous than a Karma Mishra Bhakta like Indra. So they tried to nicely preach to him, talk to him patiently. But as you say, somebody who is Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopayana shante, it is said. A foolish person, cannot understand good advice. That's why it is said, don't throw pearls to swine. It is said. Like once upon a time, some birds were they had made a very nice nest during the summer season. When the rainy season came, the birds went into the nest. It was like a closed nest. You have seen how that weaver bird makes a nest. You have seen that. Birds went into the nest. They were comfortably sitting. But they saw that one monkey had become completely drenched in the heavy rain in another tree. So these birds came out when the rain stopped and met the monkey and said, "My dear monkey, we are very sorry to see your state. You see, next year in the summer season, you also make a house for yourself so that in rainy season you don't have to suffer like this." They gave a piece of good advice. And that monkey became angry. "You are teasing me that I am drenched in water and you guys are living comfortably in your house. Now I will tear your house to pieces." He tore it into shreds and the poor birds had to suffer in the rain. So, what was the mistake the birds did? They only gave good advice to him, that's all. So, one should not give advice to a fool who will create you more trouble, it is said. Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopayana shanti, it is said. So, similarly, this fellow, the more he heard the advice of Brahmins, the more he became vicious and venomous. He started blaspheming the Brahmins and became, so their good advice was counterproductive. It wasn't helping him come to good sense, and he increased his atrocities even more, manyfold. He said, if anybody doesn't listen to my advice, they will be punished and all that. So, that is the time the Brahmanas understood. This fellow has become a thorn for the whole world, because instead of helping the mass of people, get liberated and go back to God, see, every king should work for three things for the people: protection, administration and welfare. So protection means the children, the women, the Brahmins, the cows and the old people. All these people should be given the best of facilities to be protected. The children should not be abused. They are very tender and they are very innocent, and they sometimes may independently roam around without knowing the danger that awaits them many times. That's why sometimes small kids are kidnapped, isn't it? So they should be protected. Similarly, the women should be offered all necessary protection and facilities and everything by a capable father or a husband or a son, and should never be allowed the freedom for getting abused by ruthless men, those men who are like animals. There are men who are less than animals who move around exploiting women, abusing women. So, emotionally, physically, women should not be abused, because one woman can bring happiness to the entire family, to her mother-in-law, father-in-law, to husband, to children. Therefore, there is a saying, the hand that moves the cradle can make or break a house, it is said. So, they actually, if a woman is satisfied, peaceful, cheerful and happy, she brings happiness to home and she can very nicely devote her consciousness to God. And like one Suniti made her son Dhruva, attain Supreme Lord. She made her attached husband become detached and develop good sense. She made her co-wife Suruchi come to her good sense also. So one lady changed three people. You can see that. So women should be taken care. Similarly, the Brahmanas they don't worry about tomorrow at all. Who will give us food tomorrow? What is my future? They don't think about future. They only think about today, how to please the Supreme Lord. They are also very innocent. They just study Shastra and they preach. And they are completely surrendered to Supreme Lord. And they have no personal agenda. They don't charge any money. They don't make any money. They have no interest in any of the worldly things. They are called as earthly gods, the Brahmins. So they should be protected by the king and patronized. Similarly, the old people, their body is invalid. They should not have any fear. Who will take care of me now? I am very old. They should be able to focus on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord peacefully. Further, the arrangement should be made in such a way that they get their food, they get their medical attention, and there is somebody who can speak comforting words to them, so that they can peacefully focus on the Supreme Lord and go back to God. And the cows are very innocent creatures. You can see cow can have a large body, but even a child can go and touch cow will be very mild natured. On the other hand, a monkey is small in body but very hyperactive. Very, very hyperactive. You seen that? Isn't it? Cow, you see its body is very large but very, very mild natured, isn't it? Prabhupada says even the stool and urine of a cow is extremely valuable. The gobar is the manure, and there are more than 200 diseases cured by the goark. And what to speak of, the cow's milk and the other products. Purpose is more than 300-400 sweets you can make with the cow's milk and curd and everything. So, and the cow, Panchagavya is used for deities, deity worship also, and the ghee is used for the Vedic sacrifices. The cow is a mother, is one of the 7 mothers. She has to be protected. So the king should ensure that these are all protected. Then administration means there is law and order, thieves and rogues should be kept under control and vigil. Nobody should have fear to walk on the road any time of the day. The king should have such a law and order that nobody will be cheated or looted. Nobody will be abused or exploited. And the people should not have fear. People should live in peace. And welfare means, food, clothing, shelter, and broad roads, trees on either side, water tanks, lighting, and beyond all these things, the most important welfare is the spiritual welfare, for which the king should build temples and arrange mandapams, halls like this, where Brahmanas can be given opportunity to preach and give sermons, where the mass of people can come and cleanse their hearts by hearing the Krishna Katha and chanting the holy name and taking part in kirtans. So these are the duties of a king: protection, administration, and welfare for the mass of people. So now Vena was not doing any of this. He was only fixed on self-aggrandizement. He was boasting about himself, his own greatness, and he demanded everybody worship him, very similar to what Hiranyakashipu was doing, isn't it? This is the problem with power. Sometimes it is said power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Why is it said? If somebody is given absolute power, but if he is not a qualified fellow, he can absolutely corrupt because of the resources and amenities and facilities and the power and the prestige and the political control he has. So that's what happened with King Vena. At that time, Brahmins came together and said, we cannot tolerate this atrocity anymore. Not that we have any problem, but the mass of people are suffering from such a king. He will make everybody an atheist. He himself is an atheist. He will make the people into atheists. So, such a atheistic leader who is arrogant and boastful without any qualification, who cannot do any good to the people. So, he should be punished and he should be dethroned so that the welfare of people will not be spoiled. And that is the time this verse comes here. The great sages, thus manifesting their covert anger, immediately decided to kill the king. King Vena was already as good as dead due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, this is called as living dead. You may wonder what is this word living dead. Jivan api mrtohi saha. Another place also Bhagavatam says that. Living dead means if you look at the road, many people are walking, going, coming. If they are not connected to the Supreme Lord, they are called as living dead. Because the people who live lives centered around their own sense gratification, they are considered as not in any way superior to the animals or birds. So such people, not having awakened the Lord in their heart, not making any arrangements for growing in spiritual life, they go through life without growing through life. Such people are also called as living dead. And all the more so when a person is blaspheming the Supreme Lord. He is creating a very ghastly future for himself. Here it is said, Achyuta Nindaya. Achyuta means Lord Krishna. Ninda means blasphemy. There is one famous verse. Sati says that, Ayushriyam yashodharmam lokana shishaye vacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahadatikramaha. This verse says, one loses all pious credits, all the blessings received in one's life, and one loses the lifespan, and one loses the lustre, one loses ayushyam yashodharmam, and one loses religiosity. And in this way, one loses everything when one offends a great soul or the Supreme Lord. So, already he was like a beam which has already been eaten by termite inside. When termite eats the beam, you've seen that? Like that it eats inside. Later on, one day suddenly the beam collapses, you will see that. Like that, Vena was already eaten up inside by his blasphemy. So when the sages became displeased with him, like that they said, that one, immediately he collapsed. Vena died. They didn't have to make any external effort to kill him. Their displeasure only finished him. So, now, thus without using any weapons, the sages killed King Vena simply by high-sounding words. So, one lesson we can learn also is we should never earn the displeasure of great souls. For some reason, if we committed some mistake and a great soul is displeased, immediately we should go and fall at the feet and beg forgiveness with repentance and ask them to give us one more opportunity to act appropriately and please them. So, by doing that, we can earn the compassionate glance of a great soul, and by that, we will become free from the blasphemy or offense. So, in this world, sometimes unknowingly, knowingly, we commit mistakes. Most important is to see that the Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, they don't become displeased with our act. Sometimes while acting, by mistake we may create some losses. So, like one time in Pune temple, I had put one boy to take care of his own. Bhakti Vikas Maharaj had come to Pune. I told him, please take care. Carry Maharaj's bag, take him to room and give everything. So Maharaj had put his sandals outside the temple and went for darshan and came out. It seems his sandals were missing when he came back. Somebody took it and went away. So Maharaj was asking, where is the sandal and everything. Then he went to room and all his disciples were running around searching everywhere, and others were also searching. I was not aware. I was arranging other things for Maharaj. So the news came to me. Then I ran to this fellow assistant and I asked him, hey, Maharaj's chapel is large, come, let's go to his room. I went to his room. I told Maharaj, if you tell us the size, we will get a new piece for you. Nothing to worry. By mistake somebody has taken. Maharaj said, no, my foot size is very big. You will not get it ready-made in the market. It has to be made on order. Like that he said. Then I took this fellow also and I ran around here and there. He searched everywhere, he couldn't find. Then he went to his room. Then I took one paper and put under Maharaj's feet and said, Maharaj, can I mark? Then I marked and showed, Then Maharaj said, yes, it's perfect. And then we said, we will get it done. So, this fellow was telling me, this fellow was a very young boy, he said, why do you take so much tension for a small thing? He was telling, I said, it's not a small thing, it's a very big thing. And we cannot displease great soul. So, when he asked this, immediately I changed his service. I told him that he is not fit for this. We need somebody more conscious and sensitive in dealing with great souls. Immediately I put another very sensitive devotee and he did everything afterwards. Why am I telling you? Because somebody may not be so conscious or evolved in their consciousness. They may be displeasing very carelessly and not understanding how much they are going down in the spiritual life. They become more and more covered over. Just like animals are covered over. There is Avrita Chetana, Sankuchit Chetana, Mukkulit Chetana, Vikasit Chetana, Purna Vikasit Chetana. These are all 5 levels of blossoming consciousness. So, while dealing with great souls, we should not even hurt them with our mind. What to speak of speech or by action? This fellow Vena was completely unruly. So, he enraged the great souls and he earned their displeasure. Actually, we should actively pursue in the path of pleasing great souls. And if you are neutral, that is also not a very great thing. What to speak of negatively being driven like Vena. So this verse didn't have any purport, so we are going to read a couple of more verses which were given to me. Rishabeswashrama padam gate putra kalevaram sunitha palayamasa vidya yogena shochati. After all the sages returned to their respective hermitages, the mother of King Vena, Sunitha, became very much aggrieved because of her son's death. She decided to preserve the dead body of her son by the application of certain ingredients and by chanting mantras. So, by using the path of mystic yoga as well as some, there are some herbal preparations in which people, scented oils kind of thing, in which if you keep a dead body, it can be there for a few months also without stinking, without getting spoiled. So she had preserved it, and by chanting those mantras and those certain very applications, she was preserving the body, which goes to show her attachment to her son. See, son is not a great son, he is a very dangerous fellow, but she is attached. That goes just like Dhritarashtra was attached to Duryodhana. Duryodhana is called as Krishna Dvit. He is envious of Krishna and Pandavas. Still, Dhritarashtra was attached to him. You see? Similarly, she was attached to her son. Although he was practically, physically also dead now, and in consciousness also he was dead. But still she had attachment for preserving this body. Ekada manayaste tu sarasvat sarila plutaha hutvagnin satkatash chakra upavishtas sarittate. Once upon a time, the same saintly persons, after taking their bath in the river Saraswati, began to perform their daily duties by offering oblations into the sacrificial fires. After this, sitting on the bank of the river, they began to talk about the transcendental person and his pastimes. This is a very amazing thing, because just a few days ago, they expressed their dissatisfaction about the king, and they tried to speak to him and convince him. And then they had to, with the hunkar, they finished him. That shows that the saintly persons, they were responsible for the kingdom and the people, and they wanted to post a king who will do real welfare for the people. So they are taking responsibility. And here you are finding, after the fellow was finished, and the sages are not taking over the post. They were not interested in political position. They were not lobbying for it. They were not hankering for it. They were not delighted to see, now that fellow is gone, one of us will become the king. No, that was not their interest. Their heart is for hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So they have come to the bank of the holy river, performing Vedic sacrifices and having talk about the Supreme Lord Krishna and his pastimes very peacefully. So this is a very amazing phenomenon you find in these sages. They act like a lion and they can be cool like a yogi, as we say now. So that is why here Prabhupada will say about that. Here you can see the next verse, 37. Vikshyotitam stadotpatan ahur loka bhayankaran apyabhadram anathaya dasyubhyo na bhaved bhuvaha. In those days, where various disturbances in the country that were creating a panic in society, therefore all the sages began to talk among themselves. Since the king is dead and there is no protector in the world, misfortune may befall the people in general on account of rogues and thieves. So again the rogues and thieves came out. Now they came to know, for them it's a good news. For whom? For rogues and thieves. Now the king is gone. Now we are free bird, we can do any atrocity we want. They all came out. And Prabhupada says, whenever there is a disturbance in the state or a panic situation, the property and lives of the citizens become unsafe. This is caused by the uprising of various thieves and rogues. At such a time, it is to be understood that the ruler or the government is dead. All of these misfortunes happened due to the death of King Vena. One time, we were having a class in Mumbai, attending in Srinathji Babu's house. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was giving a talk, and we were about like 100, 150 of us. When the class was going on, it was 9 o'clock. Suddenly we heard this thing, blasting sound. Pat, pat, pat. And in interval of every 5 minutes, there was a heavy blast sound. So, of course, it was decided that at night, no devotee will leave that bungalow, they will remain there only. Because nearby was a railway station where the terrorists were putting, every 5 minutes they were putting bomb blast in different bogies, and nobody could guess in which bogie bomb will blast. They were blasting like that. Almost 8 or 10 such bomb blasts went on within a span of 1 hour or so, like that. So this type of terrorists, they create panic in society, and some people die in the blast, some people get wounded in that. And their goal is to, create trouble for the king or the leader by creating havoc in society. And such elements can only survive if there is no law and order in the country properly. If the police, if the commandos, if all these people are kept at the edge of their seat, to do the needful, such terrorists will be immediately captured and punished. So, here also such things are happening, and the king is gone now. Thus the saintly persons became very anxious for the safety of the people in general. The conclusion is that even though saintly persons have no business in political affairs, they are always compassionate upon people in general. Thus, even though they are always aloof from society, out of mercy and compassion, they consider how the citizens can peacefully execute their rituals and follow the rules and regulations of Varnashrama Dharma. That was the concern of these sages. In this age of Kali, everything is disturbed. Therefore, saintly persons should take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra as recommended in the Shastras. Hare Nama Iva Kevalam Kalau Nastyeva Gatiranyatha. Both for spiritual and material prosperity, everyone should devotedly chant Hare Krishna mantra. So I made one small PowerPoint for all of you. See, work like a lion, stay cool like a yogi. So what does true success look like? Can we be fiercely active in the world without losing our inner peace? So, we heard about how King Vena possessed, physical vitality, power, wealth and everything. Yet the sages considered him dead. Because, even if you have everything, but if you are not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, one is considered good for nothing, useless. Therefore, it said, Na utpadiyet yadiratim shramayeva hi kevalam. Even if you have handsomeness, you have wealth, you have a big degree, and you have popularity and fame in the world, if one is not a devotee of the Lord, all this is simply good for nothing. The disconnected hardware, you see, just as a smartphone with a dead battery or no signal, no matter how much evolved the phone is, latest model phone but has no charge, what is the use, isn't it? It may be very expensive hardware, but a human being disconnected from the spiritual source is functionally dead. So Vena was like that, the living dead. The sages had what was the dilemma? Sages typically reside in forests, strictly detached from political affairs. However, upon seeing King Vena terrorizing the innocent, they could not remain passive. So, which means true detachment is not apathy. It is clarity of mind required to actually help suffering world. See, sometimes it is seen that the saintly persons are within 4 walls, or they just take care of their daily routine, just to chant, do the artis and, take care of your own deliverance. Prahlad Maharaj also says that. Prayena deva manayasva vimukti kaman maunam charanti vijane naparartha nishtha naitan vihaya kripanan vimumukshayeko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. He is saying, my dear Lord, there are some saintly persons who go to forest and they also adopt vow of silence. And they want to attain liberation from this world. But they don't do any welfare for the people in general. They keep away from people. So in Himalayas you will find There are many highly educated people also become renunciates and go. One time one of the staff reporters, he was showing in the YouTube video that right now we are going to Himalayas, all everywhere there is snow-capped mountains. Here is one Himalayan yogi, Baraf Baba. Baraf means ice. One who lives in ice. He has a long beard and everything. I'm going to interview him. Let us see what he says. So he went to ask question. That fellow ran away. Who? Baraf Baba, he ran away. Because they want to follow Baba of silence. They don't speak to anybody. On the contrary, a Vaishnava means they are supposed to live in the heart of the city, go and put a book table, do Harinam Sankirtan, distribute prasad, speak to the people. Prabhupada says preaching is a very thankless task because conditioned souls are geared towards sense gratification. And to convince them in becoming Krishna conscious is like feeding medicine to your horse. Prabhupada says, if you want to feed medicine to your horse, 6 people are required, Prabhupada says. 4 people to catch 4 legs, 1 person to open the mouth, and the last person to put the medicine in the mouth. Similarly, if one newcomer comes to temple, somebody gives prasad, somebody sits with him and talks, somebody introduces him with chanting, somebody phones up, and somebody in the kitchen is arranging prasad. All of us have to surround him, and at last you say, okay, now I'll become devotee now. It's not very easy making devotees, new people into devotees. So, therefore, Vaishnava life means we should not think only about ourselves, our own deliverance. We should think about the suffering souls. The more we do that, Lord Nityananda will become very pleased with us because Nityananda's job is every day he goes door to door and distributing Krishna's mercy, preaching to people. Adama patita jiver dware dware giya Hari nama maha mantra deno bilaiya Jare deke tare kohe dante trina dhori Amare ki niya loho bhaja gaura hari Yeta bali nityananda bhume gadi jai Sonara parvata jeno dhulate lotai Heno avatare arati na janmilo Lochan bole sei papi yelo aragelo. So the song is saying, Nityananda would go door to door, not to ordinary people, but most fallen people. Adama patita jiver. People who are drunkards and those who are into smoking, drinking, drugs and all kinds of atrocious activities. Prabhupada exactly followed Nityananda's mood when he came to the West. He went to the Bavari and lived in the Bavari in the midst of them and tried to bring Krishna consciousness to them. And Prahlad Maharaj did the same thing. Prahlad lived in the midst of demons' children. And demon children were asking Prahlad, is this the age to talk all this? We are supposed to play now. But Prahlad could convince them to become devotees. So whether it is Prahlad or Prabhupada or Lord Shiva going to the graveyard and preaching to ghosts and spirits and offering them human bodies to become Krishna conscious, all have the same mood. You can see that. So in the same manner, these sages, instead of taking care of their own deliverance, they were concerned about the world. So this is a very powerful message for all the ISKCON devotees all over the world, because sometimes nowadays we are finding some devotees want to study Shastra, which is not a wrong thing. We all should do the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Sarvabhauma. Everything is, even I am also doing, it's very important. At the same time, we have to keep track of how much I am taking in, how much I am giving out. Because Lord Chaitanya has told us, Janma Sarthaka Kori Kara Paropakar. How much Paropakar am I doing? So just like we brush our teeth every day, we take bath every day. Similarly, the morning program is like the root of the tree. The whole 4:30 to 9:30, anybody who faithfully does it, they can get nourishment. The soul gets nourished. Then what does the tree do? It doesn't take nourishment and keep quiet. It is supposed to give flowers, supposed to give fruits, supposed to give branches, firewood. So the tree takes in but contributes. Similarly, we also should take in the morning program. Then we also should have time of the day when we go and give out to the people and increase the number of devotees in the world. That is like increasing the healing cells in the world. So the Brahmanas were very concerned about the welfare of the world. So the sages did not merely pray from a distance. They acted decisively. They stepped into the messy, dangerous political arena. Using a high-sounding mantra, they executed the tyrant. They fought for dharma fearlessly, exhibiting the ferocity of a lion when protection was needed. So the Brahmanas are not known for physical power. Their body is tender, but in intelligence they are very sharp, and they have the ability to discriminate. Their heart is sold out to God completely. They are aligned with scriptures. They are well-wishers of the world, of all living entities. And they have no personal agenda in the activities they do. Even in fact, they delight in doing the Brahminical activities like yajan, yajan, patan, patan, dana, pratigraha. Which means they do sacrifices and they teach others to do sacrifice. Like I learned chanting and I teach chanting. And also study Shastra and teach Shastra. Their delight is not in making some money by teaching Shastra, but the delight is in simply sharing about the Supreme Lord with people. So in this way, the Brahmanas, they were not just, they were not fearful that our body is weak, somebody will do something to us. They never feared. They knew they are protected by the Supreme Lord and they wanted to act for dharma very fearlessly by taking the action. Because in the Vedic times, it was not by democracy or election that a king was chosen. The king was elected only by Brahmanas. The Brahmanas would see the first qualification of a king is he should be a devotee. And if he is a devotee, after that, they would also check, you should have a proper character. Then after that, other things like skills, experience, they all can come later. They are not that important. They are of secondary importance. Primary importance is these two things. One should be a devotee and he should be a man of character. That's why working like a lion, you see. Vena represents the consequences of unchecked ego and a rejection of divine law. His downfall is a reminder that rulers must uphold dharma to ensure harmony. See? And then later on, with his dead body, the sages churned the dead body because the semen in the line of King Anga was very powerful. Because of that, they wanted to bring Prithu. So Prithu's emergence symbolizes divine intervention to restore balance. So he was a die-hard atheist, the Vena, but from him, the Shakti-Avish avatar, Prithu came out. So then he went on to become a very ideal king, selfless, nurturing and righteous king. So this is an amazing paradox, you see. The sages showed intense action and deep peace, both. Most people who engage in such intense political conflict become corrupted, angry or riddled with anxiety, and the fire of action usually burns the actor. Even in a small ISKCON temple, in case you picked up a little fight with a devotee in your department, some service, later on you sit with the bead bag, Hare Krishna, mind is not peaceful. Mind will get disturbed. Why he said that, why she said that, and things like that. But these sages, however, maintained a cool internal state, you see. They handled the aftermath of overthrowing a dictator without losing their spiritual equilibrium. How is this possible? Because they did it as a duty for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. When we act for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, they never had that feeling that we Brahmins are so powerful that we could even dethrone the king. That pride was not there. Nor were they fearful. Now that we have dethroned the king and we don't know who will do what, his men may come and beat us up. They didn't have the fear. They neither had the fear nor had the pride of dethroning him. They did it as a dharma. This is our dharma now. We cannot allow atrocious ruler to rule the world. They dethroned him as a seva, as a duty. So in this way, if we can do all our activities as service in the spirit of detachment, then our inner peace will be maintained. They return to the source, you see. No attachment to power, no lingering agitation. Neither were they attached to becoming the king, nor were they having some lingering agitation in the mind, you see. Immediately after saving the world, they returned to the river Saraswati, bathed, sat down, performed sacrifices, and discussed Satkatha, Krishna Katha. So this is a good lesson for all of us that our hearing, chanting, worshipping the deities, and absorbing in Krishna consciousness is our first and foremost duty. All other duties which we do, when we do those other secondary duties should not influence our, percolate into our consciousness. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given about this. He says Svanishta Bhakta, Parinishta Bhakta, Nirapeksha Bhakta. 3 types of people I will show you. If you show that pictorial representation, it will become more easy to understand. See here. See here is a fellow. That means when one is below Svanishta, is attached worker. His Krishna consciousness is yellow circle, and his job and other anxieties that percolate into his japa. When he's sitting for japa, all the anxieties are coming into his japa. That means he's not yet fixed up. When he becomes fixed up, what happens? Krishna consciousness becomes a big circle. Then the job, that means even in his job time, the Krishna consciousness percolates his head. In company also he's thinking, oh, that fellow, I think he can become a devotee. I'll invite him to temple. Rather than during japa time, he hardly worries about anything else. This is called Svanishta Bhakta, he's fixed up. Then, see, Parinishta Bhakta. Why I have shown in dotted line, he can do any damn job. He doesn't have preferences. You want me to be a teacher in a college? I can be a teacher. You want me to work as a, AI, or robotics engineer? I can work. He doesn't worry about what prestige will I get in society for my holding the particular type of job. He says, any type of job I can do because I am doing the job for pleasure of Prabhupada and Guru. Like that means he is called as a Parinishta Bhakta. His Krishna consciousness become very big, very powerful. Then there is a Nirapeksha Bhakta. Where is the job? We don't find only there, see. His only job is Krishna only. Nirapeksha Bhakta. In this way, as one advances in spiritual life, you see, first was like this. Job was percolating into Krishna consciousness, life. Some people will compromise on Krishna consciousness because their worldly life is getting affected, correct, no? On the other hand, when you go to the Svanishta, Krishna consciousness percolates into one's other activities. And there is a Parinishta, is more advanced, and then Nirapeksha. So in this way, these sages were so advanced, they could do a very lion-like act and then sit and do katha peacefully. See, this is a model for any student or professional. You can tackle massive exams, run businesses, fix societal problems, as long as your internal consciousness is anchored in transcendence. Outwardly, you can be active and responsible and fearless like a lion. Then inwardly, you can be peaceful, detached and absorbed in spiritual sound like a yogi. What is the result? Impact without anxiety. Success without burnout. How many of you like this idea? Wonderful, no? You only have to live it now. You can have impact without taking anxiety inside. You can be detached. This is Gita teaching. Gita teaches dutiful yet detached. Yogastak kuru karmani sangham taktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. That's the verse. He says that yogastak kuru karmani. Situate yourself in that yogic consciousness where you do the duty with full vigor but be detached from the results. And then you don't worry about whether I will get success or failure. Do it as dharma. See, fast forward the modern crisis, Kali Yuga, it's the age of disturbance. Just like the chaotic days after King Vena's death, our modern society is defined by panic and disturbance. The thieves and rogues of today are often the anxieties, depressions, illusions that steal our peace of mind, correct, no? Leaving us leaderless in the material world. See, if parents don't take leadership in the life of children, then the gadgets become their leader. If teachers don't take leadership, then the social media scrolling becomes the leader for the teenagers, correct, no? And similarly, the saintly persons, Krishna conscious preachers, if they are not taking active role of leadership in the society, then the mass of people are going to be guided by Hollywood, Bollywood actors, actresses, become their heroes and heroines, correct, no? So we should know in a society, modern day society, why are the gadgets becoming important if the parents are not able to set a very powerful spiritual example for their children. The children, they naturally are dragged by the gadgets. Similarly, the teenagers are scrolling and the influencers become the important people in their life, not the spiritual heroes and heroines, you see. So therefore, the teachers and those who are devotees, they have a very responsible role in this society today. Because of children taking to gadgets and gaming and watching Netflix and scrolling Insta and all these things, so much anxiety, depression and illusion in society. People go for thrill, but they only get peril. See, the weapon for the modern age, what is it? So the Vena was killed by sound, by the sages, but what should we do? Prabhupada says the sages in Satya Yuga uses a sound vibration to kill the sinner. Today the sages use a sound vibration to kill the sin within the heart. We do not need to destroy people, we need to destroy the ignorance and anxiety within them. So Prabhupada was the ideal saintly teacher because he came from India to a country here, to a country like this, and it was a strange place for him, new place. Nevertheless, he was so responsible in his life. He has given more than 3,000-4,000 letters he has given us. He has given Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and more than 100 books he has given. He has given a spiritual society like ISKCON society. He has given us thousands and thousands of devotees all across the globe. He has given us a Mahamantra, he has given deities to worship, such a powerful guidance. So in this way, he occupied the heart of everybody across the globe. In this way, Prabhupada is the ideal role model for us to follow. So, this is the ultimate hack for the mind, you see. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting this, we can maintain the lion versus yogi paradox. This is the chanting. It's possible because the chanting will cleanse our mind and make it free from the anxieties and depression and fears and lamentation and hankerings. When they are gone, then one can act like a lion dutifully and be renounced like a yogi. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. It's almost 9:15 now. Those who are getting late can go. I can stay for 5 more minutes. So yes. Yeah, you can take this. We have one more mic we have? Yes.
I had a question. From the beginning of your class, you were speaking about the momentum of previous lives. And I just wanted to clarify an observation that I have. There's many Western devotees who join and they're born into a life of sin. And then when they take to Krishna consciousness, they become very, very serious.
Correct.
And their aspiration is actually towards Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. But then sometimes we see people are born into families of devotees and they're raised in a very nice devotional environment. But in their mind, they either become devotees, but they're not interested in necessarily pure devotional service, more like a mix, or they become completely uninterested and actually attracted towards the life of sin. Can you explain that phenomenon?
Oh, that's very easy. It's basically taking for granted. Like, when you're born in the house of a devotee, when everything easily comes for you, then people take it for granted. Correct, no? Like there was one fellow living in Jagannath Puri. The temple was at a stone's throw from his house. So a lot of his relatives would come to his home from far, far away places. North, east, west, south, people would come to his home and say, we have come to take darshan of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, so we have come. They would put luggage in the home, take bath, take food, and then go to the temple. And they were telling him that you are so blessed and fortunate to live in the Dham. The temple is at a stone's throw. So he must have taken darshan several times. He said, I have never taken darshan because anyway it's very nearby. He said. But people from far away were coming and going for taking darshan. Correct, no? So when something comes very easily, we take it very lightly. Correct, no? Yeah, and this is the tendency. We have seen that. Like, you will see, Radha Gopinath Prabhu came to Pune. So, lot of crowd of congregations had come to, attend the lecture on Sunday, when he was giving. And Sunday morning. I said, see Prabhu, You should more frequently come, see how much people, are drawn to you. Yeah. Then I was telling him, whatever I would want to say, when you said it, I was so happy. I said, if I were to give, so many will not come and take advantage, I was telling. So he laughed and said, the priest is not famous in his own place. He was telling that slogan he was telling. People will take you very lightly because they know you they are very familiar with you. So many children don't know how much advanced their mother and father are in Krishna consciousness. Because they take them very lightly. In Pune also they have a policy, any mother, she will never keep her daughter as a mentee. She will make her daughter as a mentee of another devotee lady. Then only they take it seriously. So this is something which every congregation can do. Parents can put their children under the custody of another devotee in the congregation whom the children admire. Admiration has to be there. Without admiration, nobody will take advantage. Correct, no? Like I have seen, even those who are giving shiksha also, in India there are people who come from another side of the country to meet me personally. They say, Prabhu, we heard your lecture. You are speaking straight to our heart. They cry tears and they stay in the ashram for 3-4 days and personally meet. And on the other hand, we may have somebody very next to you. Even if you're giving lecture, they will not want to hear at all because they see you from another angle. They see you. Correct? They take very lightly. Therefore, what I tell people, whomever your heart admires, that's called as a resonance principle. You know what is resonance? If you take two forks, you vibrate one, other one also vibrates. In physics lab we do this experiment. So we should tell the children, you tell us which Maharaj or which senior devotee or which Mataji, which devotee in ISKCON is really, really moving your heart. That you hear from them and you feel touched. If they say that yes, this is 1, 2, 3, we put the children in touch with them. I have seen His Holiness Indranand Swami Maharaj and His Holiness even B.T. Swami Maharaj. Similarly, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. This type of people I have seen that they have attracted a lot of congregation children to take to the point of Krishna consciousness, to the point where they come to even initiation also. Correct, no? So so we have to, that way they can be helped. And other thing which you said, somebody is coming from a sinful background, but they take to Krishna consciousness very seriously. That is very good, they take it seriously, but they have to also be steady also. If they are not steady in their morning program, sadhana and everything, the old vasanas will revisit them again. It is like keeping a demon under control like this. You slightly slacken it, he will jump up. It's like that. So the chanting of the holy name on the morning program purifies us to a point where we can keep them under control till we get completely purified. Shaknoti heva yasodum praksharidu mokshanat. Krishna says one should control the lust and anger and greed and keep them under control. And that is possible by steady practice. Yeah. And also Prabhupada also said by associating with good souls like Prabhupada, many of them who were from a sinful background, they could come to a very pure lifestyle. Correct, no? Good association. So we should give ourselves good association and take advantage. Correct, no? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Bhakta